Hello, and welcome back to Ladies Night, where you get the women's insights. Thank you once again for coming back to see what all we got to say. I am your host, First Lady Tammy, and as always,
we can just cook out.
I'm joined by my lovely ladies.
Couple hours.
Sure.
If they pop on.
Joined by the.
Hi, ladies. Sorry.
Hi. Work in progress.
I'm sorry. Hi guys. That was entertaining. I'm sorry, that was very entertaining. How's everybody doing?
Tired.
Good. Queen, how are you doing?
Not ready. Good. Not ready for the week tomorrow.
Yeah, I hear that. Mrs. M3, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to learn the background right here. Co-piloting.
Okay, nice. And Jessica, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for having me back, guys. I know it's been a while, but I appreciate always being able to be on, and I got to see y'all's topics you're doing tonight, so it looks like a really interesting night. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you for coming back. We always love it when people that decide to come back and join the fun. So nice to see everybody who's here. We have a very, very interesting topic this week. It's going to be very interesting. We have 2 videos that we're going to be reacting to, but this is a good one. And it's very relevant for what's going on now. So we're just going to have the title pop up onto our screen. There it goes. Protecting your child against predators. Yes, very, very interesting. And even as an adult, that's still your child. So you can protect your adult child from predators. So, but yeah, this is going to be a good one. So before we get started with our first question, we do have a video about a famous music artist who's he's gotten charged with, he's been convicted of some things. So we're gonna let that video go ahead and play. What'd you say, Queen? I think that's
you
Queen.
said he got charged with some fangs, not some fangs.
Yes.
LOL.
Yes. So I think it was a long time coming, to be perfectly honest. So but yeah, so we're just gonna wait for our little behind the scenes people. Oh, Mrs. M3, I love your picture right there. That's nice. So we're waiting for our people in the back to upload our video. Hopefully they get that going as soon as they can.
Thank you. We're uploading the video right now.
Okay.
The questions in the video, it disappeared when we went live.
Well, that's always fun. But yes, technology decides to work, and then sometimes it decides not to work when you absolutely need it to. So that's not any fun. That's not any fun. So we're just gonna wait a couple minutes. I don't know if anybody, Jessica, are you in California by chance?
No, I'm in Tennessee.
Oh, that's right, you are in Tennessee. So I know the rest of us are in California, and I know there's supposed to be this really big storm that's coming our way. I thought it was going to start at 4:00 in the afternoon, but it didn't. So anyway, without further ado, if everybody could please mute their mics, and then we will go ahead and watch the video and see what our reactions are afterwards. Alrighty, I'm muting myself now.
Can't hear it.
Finding the singer guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking.
That verdict coming at the end of a 6-week trial. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett live at the federal courthouse in Brooklyn with the breaking news. NJ.
That's it, Bill. R&B superstar R. Kelly, once a national, global celebrity, convicted on every count in the indictment, racketeering and sex trafficking. He was found guilty on the first full day of deliberations. It was a quick verdict, which is always a bad sign for the defense. For the government and the victims, vindication for allegations that go back decades.
Today's guilty verdict forever brands R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and fortune to prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the voiceless for his own sexual gratification.
Kelly was found guilty of all 9 counts in the indictment, racketeering and sex trafficking, specifically arranging sexual encounters with underage victims across state lines.
The jury delivered a powerful message to men like R. Kelly. No matter how long it takes, the long arm of the law will catch up with you.
I believe I can fly. R. Kelly's career took flight in the 1990s, only to crash and burn in the years that followed. Prosecutors said the Grammy-winning R&B superstar used his fame and fortune to exploit the victims for his own sexual gratification, allegedly luring them into his world and keeping them there through fear and intimidation. Prosecutors claimed Kelly married the late Brooklyn-born R&B singer Aaliyah when she was 15, after providing her with a fake ID. Kelly did not testify in his own defense, instead allowing his lawyers to portray him as the victim of groupies, stalkers, and gold diggers. His attorneys accused the government of a rush to judgment and accused the media of running wild. They promised to appeal.
Of course, Mr. Kelly is disappointed. He was not anticipating this verdict because based on the evidence, why should he anticipate this verdict?
Attorney Gloria Allred represented 3 of the victims.
I have been practicing law for 47 years. During this time, I have pursued many sexual predators who have committed crimes against women and children. Of all the predators that I have pursued, however, Mr. Kelly is the worst.
Well, Kelly was found to be a flight risk and has been ordered held without bail since 2019. He is 54 years old and could face up to life in prison at his sentencing, which is scheduled for May of next year. We're live at U.S. District Court.
All righty, okay. That was our video. First video, I'll say, because we do have another one we're going to be reacting to. We want to say, before we give our feedback, what's going on, what's up to the Atlanta Thrasher, who is tuning in. Always good when he makes an appearance in the comment section. We're saying what's going on to Brittany B, who has also made her appearance in the comment section. And then DJ Eddie King. Nice to see everybody. Brittany B says, if we can go back to what she said, anytime today. Okay, so we're not going to go back to it. All righty. Okay, so Mr. Hall of Fame's also here. He says, New York, let's go. And DJ the King says, we here. Let's get it. Brittany B says, okay, we good. Yes. All righty. So that video, what are your thoughts on that video? Let's get everybody's thoughts on that video. This should be interesting. We're going to start with Mrs. M3, then Queen, and then Jessica. All righty, Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts on that video?
Oh, I'll just say that's a lot. That's yeah. Marrying a girl, getting her a fake ID so you could marry her supposedly legally, 15 years old, but said to be 18. And then all the fiasco that happened after that. My honest opinion, he should be put away like he is.
All righty. Okay. Thank you, Ms. M3. Queen, what are your thoughts?
I think it's sad. I mean, it's cool that it finally came to light, but I think a lot of the things that happened previous should have threw him in jail a long time ago. And so many other women, young girls, wouldn't have been preyed upon, you know, the sex tape, Aaliyah. I mean, he should have been put away, you know? So, I mean, yeah, thank goodness it finally happened. But, you know, I feel like it's so many other women that got victimized because of it and now are traumatized because, you know, certain things are let go. So, yeah, I think it's sad. I mean, I didn't know they were going to give him life, but, you know, there was a lot more to the story that I feel like we still don't know.
All righty. Thank you, Queen. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think back to being a young middle schooler and at dances, listening to his lyrics and dancing, and of course, lots of songs were misogynistic and everything. But now looking back and looking at the specific lyrics, just kind of like puts a sick taste in your mouth of like what, you know, you were dancing and singing to one day, and then what the real reality was behind that. And you know, like you mentioned, the women that have been victimized and continue to be, and not just from R. Kelly, but people who are in his circle who allowed it to go on, that definitely saw it. You know, from watching the documentary and everything, there were a lot more people involved than him that could have held him accountable or could have helped the women that did not.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Queen Dom, nice to see you came back. Did you get a chance to watch the video we just showed?
Yes, I did. I don't know what's going on, but my phone keeps like not allowing the video. But yeah, I saw it. I can hear all you guys the whole time.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So what are your thoughts on that video?
My thoughts on I don't really have any thoughts on the video. I mean, for me, it wasn't really much. They were just like saying, you know, the verdict. But my thoughts on what actually happened, like, you know, what they say he's doing and stuff like that's horrible. And yeah, that's but yeah, on the video itself, I mean, you know, just a white lady talking a bunch of mess, so I don't really care. But yeah.
Thank you, Queen Dom. All righty, so we got comments coming in. Brittany B says he was doing the same thing Kelly was doing and then made a video about it and posted it. Shaking my head. So I'm not sure. I think she's responding to a comment that was put before. But she also says, I wonder if they're going to touch on the YouTube millionaire. Oh, Glendon Cameron, black guy. Interesting. Ms. Alexander says he's watching the show and eating something. I think he said gelato. Yeah, I never had gelato, so I don't know. I don't know what that is. So yeah, probably tastes good, but yeah.
Ice cream.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's ice cream. Yeah, see that? Yeah, that must be like is that dairy free? Is it a dairy free ice cream or no? No? Okay, just gelato. Okay. I'm a weirdo when it comes to food. Sorry, you guys. So yeah, and Mr. Hoffman says, should we still bump Kells? We'll answer that question in a minute. Real quick, my reaction to the video, I just find it interesting when it takes so long to convict somebody of something that is clearly obvious. I mean, the fact that he married Aaliyah when she was underage should have showed you something wasn't right then. And that was a long time ago. So the fact that it's happening now, that doesn't really sit well with me. Because it should have happened a while ago. So I mean, it's good that it happened now, but then you have to think of other celebrities that may be doing the same thing, because that need for fame and that wanting to be around that celebrity, some people are willing to go through to great lengths in order to get near that celebrity. And they don't even think about the risk of doing those things. So, I mean, I've heard about like people, like fans breaking into their property and things like that. So it's just interesting when it just takes so long. I think that's just interesting. So it's good that it took this long. My question is, how many other celebrities is it going to take down the line? You come to find out, oh, this celebrity was doing all these things with these young girls. It's just interesting. MarioMarion says that was a good question, DJ Eddie. So if we could go to his question, he said, do you think the music was made for the world to listen, or just made for young teens? That's a good question. Let's answer that question, and then we'll go to our first question. Yeah, anyways, Mr. M3. Okay, Mr. Hall of Fame. Okay, so the question is, do you think the music was made for the world to listen to, or made just for young teens? Mrs. M3, what do you think?
I think R. Kelly made the music to make money. I don't know if he wrote all of his lyrics, so whoever wrote them probably meant it for the world to hear. Allegedly, he is illiterate, meaning he can read some, write some at a 3rd grade level, I think they said, allegedly. So I don't know who wrote his music, but I guess it was for the world.
Interesting. Okay. We'll go to Jessica. Actually, we'll go to Queen Dom, then Jessica, and then Queen. Queen Dom, what do you think? Who do you think he made his music for?
Who did R. Kelly make his music for?
Yes.
Oh, all the people trapped in the closet. That's the only answer I have. I don't know. All the people, all the people trying to get pregnant, you know, and not being called trappers. You know, if you put on R. Kelly and you get pregnant, you ain't trapped him. R. Kelly trapped him. So I don't know. I guess that's it.
Yeah,
I have no idea who he made his music for.
I gotta say that Trapped in the Closet series was a good one. I mean, just saying. You know, he did some. He's done some bad stuff. No argument about that. But that Trapped in the Closet series, that was a good series. So, but yeah. So anyway, Jessica, what are your thoughts? Who do you think he made the music for?
The whole situation when it came out, it just reminds me of this book about this teacher who was a predator with his students, and it just like sickens me. So maybe he did tell some of his experience, like you said, to someone who Miss M3 alluded to, right? If he was illiterate, maybe he, you know, had like a ghostwriter and he was like, hey, these are some things I want to get out, but we may never know. I know we learned some gross things in the documentary and hearing things on the news, but there's always pieces to a story like this that we will never know.
Thank you, Jessica. Queen, what are your thoughts? Who do you think he made his music for?
I wouldn't necessarily say he made his music to trap anybody. Maybe I just don't listen to enough of his music to understand the connection. Not a real big R. Kelly fan. I think he's very talented. I listen to some, but you know, I think he just made his music, but to me, the way he draw people in was his performances. And I feel like that's how he, you know, got people in, or the women in on stage and stuff like that. So, and then with the sign, when he would have one of his, I don't remember the group he first came out with, he had one of the guys run across the stage with a sign that says 18 and over. So, you know, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily music. I think it was a stage show that drew people in and was like, oh, you know, this is what's going to happen at an R. Kelly show. So
interesting. Okay, thank you, Queen. Okay, I want to read these comments that are coming in. Atlanta Thrasher says, at Mr. Hall of Fame 23, I like the South Park version. And then we have Atlanta Thrasher says, but there's been so much hate on the news over the past news. I've been trying to de-stress my life and stay away from most news outlets. And then says, I'm not going to lie. I thought R. Kelly went away after the whole urinating on a minor thing that happened decades ago. Dude was still out there doing stuff. Wow, that's insane. Yes, absolutely insane. Mr. Hall of Fame says, LOL, Damo, I opened the closets. And he says, that closet was fire. Yes, it was fire. That's what I'm talking about. I watched all them episodes of Trapped in the Closet.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good. And then, of course, we read the one about him, Atlanta Thrasher liking the South Park version. And then Brittany B says, I agree at the Atlanta Thrasher. And then MarioMarion says, Trapped in Prison should be the next chapter in his series.
that was hot. That was big.
They did talk about the package in one of those.
No,
so
then
he might be getting the package while he's locked up. Just saying.
He gonna have to do a collaboration with Lil Nas X.
There you there you go. Oh, so he says, and Atlanta says Tom Cruise in the closet was priceless. Interesting. This all depends, especially the joint with the mindset, First Lady Tammy. Yes.
I wanted to say that, but I wasn't sure if we could say midget in this day and age. But I wanted to say that too.
The midget, yeah. Let me see. So
Little
who do you
people.
for?
Refer to them as little people.
There we go. Thank you, Queen. You know, I think it was Mr. M3 said he was trying to make money, and I think he was trying to appeal to whoever was going to listen to his music, and so, you know, teens obviously listen to his music. I think when you make your music, you make it for a certain audience, and he had a certain audience in mind. And if other people liked it as well, then, you know, they liked it as well. But it's hard to say, because it's not like he didn't like when women liked his music. So, I mean, he was making money. So I think he did the music he made was to get as much money as he could, which he did, because people still play his music even today. So, and then Khalid said midget, not me.
Kel. He meant Kels, like R. Kelly. They call him
Kel
Kels.
said midget. Yeah, and he did have a midget in his thing. Yeah, like I said, the whole thing was crazy. Mario said, Dom, you'll get canceled if you say M one more time. So we'll just say either little people or the letter.
I know. I just said that. We could.
Or mental. No, yeah. We'll leave
either.
She corrected herself earlier.
There we go. So we're going to get to our first question, you guys, in response to that video. Our first question, my magical spirit fingers are working. I know they're working. As soon as the question comes up.
Shake them a little harder.
Oh, no, okay. Okay, so is this what we're doing? Come on, question number 1. We know you're there, and let it be done. We want to see. Okay, so I guess my fingers don't want to work today. Okay, we got our people in the background not doing their job. People in the background. Hello, people in the background. Oh, goodness. Okay, yeah. So
there it is in the chat or in the comments.
Yes. Oh, there it is. Finally, my goodness. People in the back, y'all need to wake up. Come on now. All righty. So it says, in response to the R. Kelly video, should he be the only one prosecuted? Should the parents who allegedly sold their daughters to Robert Kelly for all those decades, also be prosecuted? Very, very good question. I'm looking to see what everybody's thoughts on this one is. We're going to start with Queen. What are your thoughts, Queen? Do you think who else do you think should be prosecuted besides him?
I think the families that ignored it, the families that signed, I think in the the video, Survivor R. Kelly, one of the parents say that they signed over legal guardianship to him. And I'm like, what the hell? Really? Like, who does that? It's no singing career worth that, you know? And I think a lot of the parents were infatuated with him and was kind of maybe did a blind side to things because, oh, R. Kelly's interested in my daughter and to help her. And yeah, there's no way in hell my 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old is going to be in any studio with a grown man who has almost sex on stage. First of all, you're not going to be in the studio with him at all. We're going to find you a different producer. So, and they knew this because they knew the history of him even when they were doing it. So I think the parents should be thrown in jail right next to him.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
So I cannot remember the gentleman's name that was on the documentary with him, but it was like his main assistant. They were talking about he literally witnessed so many women go in and out of the studio or in limos and different things. So I definitely think he first should have been held accountable. But then there was an article I had read recently, and it was saying this one lady, she testified during the trial, and her name, she was his executive assistant, but it said that I think some things we see, you know, just sound blips of on the news, or we might see a little piece of the court transcript, but she was saying her name's Diana Copeland. She said that there were so many strictures set in place at his, you know, any kind of event he went to, any kind of like entourage following him. And so she wasn't privy, and a lot of people were not privy to some of the abuse that was going on because it was held so close. And so, of course, there are some people, right, that might want to say, oh, well, everyone should have called him out. But, you know, if it was hidden from people, it's not that easy. Or if, you know, and powerful people with money can often do that, right, to keep themselves safe, make sure other people are not able to speak out because they don't see it, or it's done in very illicit places, hiding things purposefully.
Thank you, Jessica. Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts?
So I think
Thank you, Jessica.
Mrs.
M3, what are your thoughts?
That the parents are also held responsible, because in this case they knew. There's sometimes with predators the parents don't know nothing, but in this case they handed their kid over, and some of them trying to check on them, trying to call them, blah 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 blah. Other ones, those kids were there at this man's mercy, and they didn't give their, you know what I mean? Like, if you can't get a hold of your kid, one, send the cops. If you can't, you know what I mean? Like, what were those parents thinking that didn't send help for their kid? And some of those women were in there for how long? In his harem for how long? Decades? Some of them grew up under him, and the parents didn't come to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some that did, according to the, you know, surviving, show, Surviving R. Kelly. But what about the parents that didn't? And those girls, what's happening with them now? Are they getting counseling? Are they getting help? You know, like, I hope they're getting help.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. M3. I want to say shout out to Blaze Brown. Blaze Brown is tuning in. The question is there. You know, actually, Blaze, it wasn't there. As I was wiggling my fingers, it wasn't there. I was wiggling for nothing. I don't know how to feel about that. But it did eventually pop up. So thank you. So DJ the King says, do you think Aaliyah's fame was the ticket through R. Kelly? If yes, do you think those other teens would have been next in line for fame as well? We'll answer that question in a minute. Okay, my theory is, if you knew, then you're just as guilty as he was. If you knew and you didn't intervene, you're just as guilty. Like that's how they have a crime where you're guilty by association. So in other crimes, for instance, if you're an accomplice, even if somebody gets murdered, even if you didn't actually pull the trigger, you're still going to get in trouble because you were there. So you're just as guilty. Even if you didn't pull the trigger, you're just as guilty. So I feel like the same thing should apply here, that even if you didn't actually do the things to those girls, if you were there, you knew what was going on, you didn't say anything, you should be in trouble too. And I mean, for as long as it was going on, people knew things. People knew things that were going on. So I feel like those people that knew, they had a responsibility and they didn't do what they should have done. So I definitely think that not just he should be in trouble, but also the other people should be prosecuted. And like Queen said about the parents signing over their rights. I mean, how come they haven't gotten convicted or prosecuted? Like how come? I feel like things should happen to them because you signed over your rights of your child to this man for money, because that's pretty much what it is, for money, because your child was going to make money. And then something like this happened. So you should be held accountable. You should be held accountable. Your kid wouldn't have been there had you not done what you did. So I think that if you knew what was going on and you chose not to do anything, then you're just as guilty as he is. The parents that knew something was going on and still chose not to intervene, they're just as guilty, and something should happen to them too. So I don't necessarily just think it's him. I think that it's anybody who was a part of it. And so just because you didn't do exactly what he did doesn't mean that you're not just as guilty. All righty, Queen Dom. So in response to that question, do you think that other people should be prosecuted as well?
Yeah, I think every single person. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Let me move.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I feel like everybody should be prosecuted. I feel like I don't care if you just had a thought that he might be doing something and you didn't say something. Like, yeah, that every single person. I think the lawyer, no, not the lawyer, because I know there's attorney privileges, but I don't believe in that. I think that too, like if you represent someone that you know is guilty, I think you should be prosecuted too. I don't know. I don't care. I think everyone should just, like, for lack of better words, go be somewhere hot, and that's it.
All right, thank you, Queen Dom. Blaze Brown says, okay, and there we go. If the parents supported / sold their children to such lifestyle, they too deserve jail. Absolutely. I mean, nothing in this world is free. So they always say, if it seems too good to be true, then it is. And that's pretty much what it is. As far as Eddie King's question about Aaliyah.
Go ahead. I was going to add to that
go ahead.
There were adults, female artists who, when they would go to the studio with him, they would say, everyone saw bedrooms in the studio, and they would say that in the Surviving R. Kelly, in the interview, some of them would say, he was trying to make me spend the night and told me I couldn't leave the studio. And I was like, you tripping, I'm going home, And then I think one said that she brought her husband or boyfriend, and he was like, why'd you bring him? He was like, because he's my partner or something. So, I think everybody had an inkling of it, but once again, money talks, and everyone, unfortunately, puts a blind eye to something until it hits your doorstep. Mm-hmm. People got to stop having that kind of heart.
Yep, that's very true. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so DJ D King's question was about Aaliyah. So, and it's, as soon as it popped, there you go. So do you think Aaliyah's fame was the ticket through R. Kelly? If yes, do you think those other teens would have been next in line for fame as well? That's a very good question. So my understanding of it is, do we think that that's how Aaliyah got famous, was through him? I have my thoughts. So Jessica, what do you think?
I mean, she might not have had as big of a platform, yes, without him. She was definitely a talented young lady. I remember loving her. a lot of her songs. I know she was famous, right, doing the Rock the Boat, and then she had the one that was on, what was the Eddie Murphy movie? It was like a big song at the time where it's like the video in the cave and everything. I used to love all that. So I definitely think
somebody.
Yes. So I know she had such a great talent on her own, her voice, her beauty, everything. He could have propped her up and given her more fame. And it's such a sinister, way to think about that. Again, now with all that we know, but definitely other people could have been famous that were surrounding him, but that might in a gross way show that she was talented enough on her own to become famous, right? And some of the others might not have been, even with his gross help, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, I definitely can agree with what you're saying. Queen Dom, what are your thoughts?
Can I hear the question again? I know it's about Aaliyah, but
So do you feel like Aaliyah's way to fame was through R. Kelly, and do you feel like there would have been other teens that would have been able to would have been next in line for fame as well?
I don't know, because I don't really remember too much of like the true backstory of like how she came up through R. Kelly, but I would say depending on what her life was or where she was, maybe she wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet someone. I don't know, depending on her backstory, but I definitely think that she's talented. I definitely think as long as she was able to get in front of somebody else, or have someone else see her, then yeah, she would have made it. Like Jessica said, Lee was popping. I used to learn all her dances because I was in middle school at that time and stuff. And elementary school, we used to watch the Aaliyah videos back to back to back, even after she died, learn all the dances and all that. So especially Rock the Boat. So yeah, I think she would have made it if she could have got in front of somebody. So it just depended on where R. Kelly found her or how they met each other. That's what I think that's about.
Thank you, Queen Dom. Queen, what are your thoughts?
I think he introduced her, but I think she was so talented in acting and everything else that I don't think she needed him to catapult her career, because she was blowing up. I think she blew up more after him, after she left him, with acting and what was that, Romeo Must Die, and then she did the Queen of the Dam movie. So, yeah, and then she did Anastasia, a song for the Disney movie. So I don't think her career would have been different. I think she could have just used the ability to miss some of the trauma that was caused by that relationship.
Interesting. Okay, thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts?
I think that Aaliyah was a talent on her own. I don't think that she should have been exploited. I think that if he were the driving force with her career, what happened with the other, how many women that are girls that came through his, studios and whatnot? Do we even know who they are? Who did he produce after her? Maybe there were some, but I'm not sure or familiar with them.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. So here's my thing is that I feel like if somebody is talented, they're talented. And so even if there's somebody who's already very far in the industry, or should I say very high in the industry, and they take you on, when that relationship is no longer as known, or when it's no longer there, if you're talented, you'll still be talented after that is gone. So I think it was Queen Forever 21 and 2K21 and some other people said that she was really talented anyway. So even without him, I feel like she would have gotten to where she got to. It just so happened that she did meet him and they did get married. So, we can't, take that away. But that's not to say that that she got her fame through him. Because like I said, had that been the case, because there's plenty of people that there's some artists that takes them on and, you know, builds them up, and then you don't hear from them after a while. You know, after a while, you don't hear anything from them. You don't hear any music. You don't hear anything. So I think that if you're naturally gifted and talented, even if there is somebody that takes you and, you know, helps you, you're still going to be able to do well, if not better, after that is gone. So I kind of feel like that's what it is. As far as, I mean, I feel like there would have always been somebody that he would have been trying to groom after her anyway, and he probably was grooming people after her. I mean, but you know, she had an amazing talent, and not everybody has that talent. So, so yeah. So, alrighty. So, and Mrs. M3 is moderating. My goodness, Mrs. M3, congratulations to your first day of moderating. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. M3. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty. So, DJ the King says anybody can be talented. It's just you got to know somebody through somebody to get there. I mean, I do believe that, but I think that even if you know somebody to get there, you're going to have to do things on your own at some point. That person can't hold you there forever. At some point, that person's not going to be able to, that person can only do so much for you. You have to carry the rest of the way on your own. So even if they, like I said, even if they bring you in and they help you to get somewhere, at some point, it's got to go from where they're helping you to where you're doing it on your own. Because if that's the case, because he wasn't always helping her, even as she, you know, she did her rock the boat and all those other things, he wasn't a part of that. So the fact that she was talented, like I said, if you're naturally talented, even when that's gone, you're still going to be able to strive. You're still going to be able to get far. But if you're not, then once that person is out there to help you, to boost you up, you're going to start to crumble.
She left him and went to Timberland and Missy Elliott
Yeah.
for her second album, One in a Million.
Yeah, see? So it's like, you know, yeah, R. Kelly, you know, he boosted her, you know, somewhat. But, you know, he ain't the only person in the industry, and there are people in the industry that have good intentions. So not everybody has bad intentions that's in the music industry. There are some that do, but in any industry, no matter what industry it is, there's always going to be people that have good and bad intentions. So you just have to be very mindful about the people that you choose to help you, because their intentions might not be what your intentions are. So anyway, so if nobody has anything else to add, we're gonna react to a second video, not R. Kelly related, but it is a second video that I think is a really, really good one. Our lovely panelist, Miss Queen Forever 2K21, sent this video, and I think this is a good video for this topic. So we're gonna watch that video, and we're gonna react to it as soon as it pops up. So yeah, because this is about predators, and so R. Kelly is not the only kind of predator that we're aware of. There's all kinds of different predators, especially when it comes to children. So you know, and then DJ the King says, no, First Lady, I disagree. Well, you know, that's the beautiful thing about an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. We don't have to agree. So if you disagree, Eddie King, that's perfectly all right. You're more than welcome to say in the comments why you disagree. But we're going to hold off on you saying why you disagree, because we're going to play this video really quickly, and then we're going to react to this. So if everybody could go ahead and mute their mics, and we're going to watch this and then react to it after it's done. As soon as it plays. All righty. So before we get to the question, and Atlanta Thrush says, it says, once you tell a kid that there's a piece of their childhood that's gone forever. I want to see everybody's reaction to that video. So I'm going to go to Queen Forever 2K21 first, then to Dom, then to Mrs. M3, and then to Jessica. Queen, what are your thoughts?
The video was very disturbing, but you know, I think we live in a time now where it's is stranger danger is more real than ever. And sometimes it's not even stranger, it's family danger too, you know? And I think when I saw that video, um, I just kept sharing it on my page because I was like, you know, I think a lot of people live in a bubble and they don't think it's real. Like everyone thinks, oh, my kid won't do that. Oh, my kid won't do that. Oh, my kid won't do this. But you don't know until it's too late. You know, now what if he wouldn't have never did the social experiment with those parents and somebody came up to their kid in the park, you know? So I think it's really disturbing, you know? And I mean, it's true. Kids are very trusting and have pure hearts, but at the same time, you know, we don't live in a time where we can just play with them guessing if they know what's best to do, you know.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you very much. Knowledge Relationships says yes. So stay tuned after the episode of Ladies Night for a live interview with Jessica. All right, Jessica. Nice. There's a live interview with Jessica, you guys. You definitely want to tune into that. Atlanta Thrasher says, we already read that. Okay, so next, Queen Dom, what are your thoughts about that video?
First of all, if he would have came, I don't have kids yet, but I know like I'm very paranoid about things like that. And if he would have came up to me in the park and said, I'm doing an experiment on kids, he would have just got tased right there. He probably would have just got tased. Because I'd have been like, what are you doing in this park? Why are you doing experiment? Like, I probably wouldn't even heard him out. Like, I'm so sorry. I just, you know, I'm paranoid. But I say, sorry, I missed a little bit what Queen said, but I definitely was agreeing with her what she was saying. So sorry if I like repeat it. But I definitely feel like it's a way, like not all kids are just gonna take candy. Not all kids are just gonna follow the dog. Like you really need to like really teach your kids. Like it's one thing to just say it, but you need to like really enforce it. Like it's not about just being like, hey, you know, don't talk to strangers. Like no, like you need to sit them down. You need to maybe not scare them, but maybe give them a little bit of an example. Like make sure they remember, like, you know, do a drill or something like every couple of weeks. Be like, hey, remember, don't talk to strangers, right? So I think that it's more than just saying it once or just saying it here and there or saying it like Queen said when it's too late, when it's like, oh, didn't I, you know, well, you shouldn't have been talking to strangers, you know, like that's too late now. So I think it's just parents need to spend more time and more effort like doing these things, like, you know, and teaching them even with everybody, not just, you know, with family, with not forcing them to give hugs, not forcing them to do all these things. I helped raise my niece for 2 years, right, in New York before I moved here. And I was with that little girl every day. And when people would say hi, she would like put her hand on her face. And I remember older women saying to me, like, oh, you should teach her not to do that because that's so disrespectful. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to teach her not to, like, not want to say hi. Like, you know, like, and we have a lot of grown men in the building that we lived in New York. And someone was always trying to say, I love that she did that, you know, and I'm not going to force her to, like, not do that. So I think it's just, it comes with a lot. When you force your kids also to do certain things, then you can't also tell them don't talk to a stranger. Like, it confuses them. So yeah, I think it's a lot that goes with it. That video is scary, and for a parent to think that their kid wouldn't, and then their kid right there very excitedly did, I'd be terrified, and we'd be doing something different at home.
Thank you, Queen Dom. Mr. Hall of Fame says, Damo going to jail. He says, exclamation point, exclamation point. I got your bell money, home girl.
Oh, thanks, Eddie. I might be going to jail, but at least you got me. I'm good on that.
Maricela Flowers, thank you for tuning in. You guys make sure you hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Absolutely, absolutely. Maricela, which I hope I pronounced that correctly, says that was very uncomfortable and I agreed. Reacting, it helps. Interesting. All righty. And also says, okay, so says that was very uncomfortable to watch. Reenacting helps. Got it. Okay. Thank you. And Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts on that video?
It reminds me of another child predator video with kids that are faking their age, bumping their age up to 18 so they can be on these websites. And, you know, there's this guy, I think it's Cody Pearson or something, Pearson. And he does the same thing with teenage boys and girls. They're 14, 12, and I think 13 years old. And similarly, at a park, they set the stage. They're like catfishing for 4 days, 2 days, 3 days. And these kids go into strangers' house thinking they're going to meet up with this 14-year-old girl or a 15-year-old boy. And it's adults talking about, oh, I'm so-and-so. Don't you remember? I'm the one that you've been chatting with online all this time. And it's grown men. And thankfully it's a sting operation with their parents involved. But it reminds me exactly of that. And I share that with my students every year, every semester, because, you know, one of the parents specifically says, you're 14, you're not a man, you're a boy, they could harm you specifically. And he's like, how are you in the back of the white van? We just saw the episode with the girls and you're in the same specific van. Like, it doesn't just happen to babies. It doesn't just happen to 4-year-olds. Like, our world is full of different, you know, predators, and the way that they seek after harming kids, it gets more creative by the year, by the decade.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
I know what you were just talking about, Miss M3. It's like a similar show that used to come on. It was like, I think, a piece of 60 Minutes. And Chris Hansen, I always remember his name because that's my last name. He would do it, and it was called To Catch a Predator, and it was just like that. But yeah, the video is disgusting. It reminds me though of how paranoid my mom was. Like one of our other panelists said, she always went over and over and over this, like to the point where some of her friends, my aunt, were like, this is ridiculous. Like you're going to traumatize her or whatever. But it works if you do it well. So I think Atlanta Thrasher in the comments had said that his son talks to strangers out of spite, but he never lets them out of his sight. And that is the key, right? Is like, even if you're a kid, right, they're being a kid, you have to like be the parent, like what we mentioned about those R. Kelly, the parents that were letting their kids do stuff and not monitoring them. But then one thing I want to comment on, you said he's too young for me to tell him what strangers actually do to kids. No, he's not. Because then if it happens to him, unfortunately, or any child, right, that's so young, like not at all trying to get onto you. I'm not a parent, but I have a niece, nephews, and I also had a relative who was a child predator. So that is why this is key. And that's why my mom was so paranoid, right, about both our own family and anyone. So we were like in the grocery store one time when I was little, probably like 2 or 3. And some old gentleman walked up to the cart while my mom and aunt were like getting meat or something, you know, turned around right beside me, but turned around. And so he was talking to me, like put his hand on the cart and was like, oh, you're such a pretty little girl. And I was like, little, like 2 or 3. And my aunt and mom always tell the story. Like I screamed out, I was like, Mom, there's a pervert. He's trying to talk to me. And like my aunt was like, this was so embarrassing. It's so inappropriate. She said that about an old man. But what if he had been, right? And they had looked away just for a second, right? And they grabbed me. So it is never too young to tell them, because it could happen and you just never know. So you just better to be more precautious than regret something later.
Thank you, Jessica. So I think I'm the only person on the panel right now that has a child. So I think I'm the only person who's a mom. So as I was watching it, it was very interesting because I almost wonder if the mom said that, oh, I tell him all the time because that was the right thing to say to him. Because I can't say, oh, I never tell them not to do that. Like I couldn't have seen the mom saying that. And it was scary to see these kids that he came with a dog. They talk to him no problem, which makes me think that the parents either don't talk about it enough, maybe they talked about it once, or they just never spoken about it at all. Like I had turned my screen off. I had asked my daughter, I was like, you know, if somebody comes up to you with a dog and wants you to pet their dog and asks you, do you want to come and see more dogs? I said, would you go? And she said, no. And I said, why? She said, because I don't know if that person's trying to kidnap me or not. So I like that my daughter said that. But it's sad because I feel like some people don't have those conversations with their kids. I mean, I have a password I use with my daughter that if somebody comes to pick her up, they have to know the password. even if it's somebody that she knows. It could be my sister that's picked her up before. They still have to know what the password is in order to pick her up. And I feel like things are just not done enough. And it's crazy to me because there was another video I watched where this guy, he came up and he told this woman, because she was there, and then her husband was supposed to be sitting there watching the kid, and he's on his phone, and he said, I want to see if I pretend like I'm taking your child, if he's going to notice. And he walks up, talks to the kid, they walk away, and the dad's on his phone looking, and when he looks up, the kid is gone. He can't find him anywhere. Like it was just scary. And then even just the different tactics that people use to get kids have evolved. Like we talk about the whole, internet thing. There was another show that I watched where the dad, the teen daughter was communicating with somebody online. They had played this out, and the parents were in on it. And they were like, oh, my daughter's not going to go anywhere. Well, she was ready to leave the house to go with this guy that she'd been connecting with online. And when she opened the door, her dad was standing right there at the door. It's crazy to me as a parent, because I feel like parents don't do enough. Parents don't do enough. The world that we live in, you have to, you watch these shows like Law and Order SVU and things like that, which, those seem like fictional stories to people, but they might not be fictional stories. So I think that video was just every single child. There was not one child that didn't go with him. That's the scary part about it. There was not one child that even second guessing going with this guy. Every single child was happy to see the puppy and was happy to go with him, no problem, which makes me think that these parents haven't had a conversation with their kids, because their kids didn't even think about. They didn't even say, oh, I can't go with you. They just went, no problem. So, and I feel like that's a fault of the parent. That's part of your job as their parent, is to make sure that you protect them and make sure that you talk to them about things that they need to be aware of. And that's what they need to be aware of. And then that's another thing, is like, even the video itself, some random guy comes up to you and says, oh, I'm doing an experiment. And then he does it. And then while he's talking to you, it's like, then your kid's gone. It's like, this is the stuff that is just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me, because some random person comes to you to say that, and you're supposed to say, oh yeah, there's my kid right there. So you just point your kid out for this random person to go ahead and take, and then he was walking away with the child. What if he would have handed the child off to somebody else? Because you agreed to this experiment to see if your child would go with the person. It's people don't think. People don't think. And that's the problem, is that people don't take time to think about things that can happen. And you have to. When you're a parent, your mindset is supposed, and I say supposed to change because it doesn't always, but your mindset is supposed to change when you become a parent. And you need to always make sure that you're trying to prepare your kids for things. Like I said, we got a password. So nobody can pick her up unless they have the password. Even if it's somebody she knows. Because even if it's my sister doesn't have the password, she's going to have to call me and say, sis, what's the password? And it's not even a word that you would guess. It's some real random thing. And every now and then I quiz my daughter. We'll be in the car and I'll ask her what's the password, and she knows what it is. So yeah, that video, it was just kind of sad, because I feel like that's all too common. It's just all too common. So anyway, we're gonna go and get on to that second question. And by the way, you guys, if you guys want to get on the panel, the link is available for you, so you can come on and give your feedback on the panel so we can hear you, so you don't have to do a comment. You can say it live and alive. So Nadia Relationship says #free Damo. They're trying to free you, Damo.
Listen, man, I agree with Tammy. This is why he would have got tased. Like, what do you mean you're doing a social experiment on kids? Get out of here. So sorry, you can't get. And also, like Tammy said, he could have been the kidnapper himself. These people are smart. Watch Criminal Minds, watch NCIS, watch Law and Order, have your kids watch it, teach them.
Watch
please.
Lifetime.
Yep.
Right, Lifetime movies is probably the best.
Don't get me started.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. Like, they even talk about if you're in the store and somebody's following you in the store and you're just in the store shopping, and that's why when I get in the store and I see these kids are just running around, the parents not around, and the first thing in my mind I think is, That's why kids get kidnapped. That's the first thought that gets in my head when I see that. Like I was at a game. I was watching one of my students play football, and there's these kids just walking around with no adult. And I'm sitting here like, this is why kids get kidnapped, because your kids are just running around, walking around. They're not being supervised. Even when I'm in the store, my daughter needs to be close by me and I hold her hand, because you could be 5-6 feet in front of me and something quickly could happen. Like it'll happen in the blink of an eye. That's why you ever said, oh, I just looked down for a second. So it's crazy. But anyway, in response to that video, are kids aware of stranger danger? Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts? Do you feel that kids are aware of stranger danger? I'm going to go to you, and then Queen Forever 2K, then Queen Dom, and then Jessica.
I think for the most part, kids have an awareness when something is dangerous. The problem is the guise of, the GUISE of friendly, here's my puppy. Like kids can't differentiate necessarily who's kind and genuine, who's the predator when things like that are presented to them. Like it probably, definitely probably blows kids' minds who have experienced a family member who's done them wrong, like molested them or raped them, or, like it probably never entered their mind that someone who seemed kind, Mr. Tickles, would do something that would harm them, So I don't know if every kid has that level without help, without adult intervention, to know the difference. I'm sure if it's dangerous, a kid would know, get away from the hot stove, but somebody that's that guise of, that conniving, no, I don't think that they have that without an adult to help them, to guide them through that.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. Already, Queen Forever 2K21. What do you think? Are kids aware of stranger danger?
I think I think it depends on where you live and where you grow up. Because I think some communities you don't have time to not teach your kids stranger danger. And so it's almost like kids react to what they see their parents do. Like, for instance, we were in a different country and my niece was very little. And, she's very little, cute, pretty girl. She had really long eyelashes. So everyone used to think her eyelashes were fake, which I thought was preposterous. But anyway, I remember all these women coming up to her, and she was with my sister, and he was like, oh, she's so pretty. And my niece would be like, get away from me. Like, no one told her about stranger danger, but she knew, like, don't get that close to me. And I remember my sister's like, you're too close. That's why she's telling you're making her uncomfortable. So, so I think some kids are aware of it, some kids aren't, and I think when you look at their videos out there now of the Ring camera or surveillance camera catching kids with, like, there's this one little boy and he's walking home, or a little girl, and a car is following her. So she stops behind a truck and she tries to wait for the car to pass, and they back up. She backs up, and then she runs to her house or the neighbor's house. Little kids walking home from school. There's this one video of this little girl walking in her apartment building, and she sees this guy standing outside. And so he goes in, and she goes up, and he's like walking, waiting for her to go up the stairs. So she comes back down the stairs, walks back outside, and she starts buzzing, doing something at the doorbell. So he's kind of standing on the first floor, and then he's going, I don't know if he goes back out, but she comes back in and she runs up the stairs. And I guess he's like, he didn't know, she threw him for a loop to the point where he didn't know what to do. So he just ran out and left. But he was basically trying to follow her up the stairs into her house. But she knew, hey, you don't live here. I'm not going to say nothing, but I'm going to just go back and forth and do something. So I think some kids are aware and some kids aren't, but I think it's also the parents. Parents need to, not chastise their kids for not being friendly, what they call it, to people they don't know.
Thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. Okay, let me read these comments that are coming in. If they pop up, there we go. So, Najee says, hashtag free Damo. Hashtag free Damo. And DJ Eddie King says, Damo salute. Aww.
Aw,
And
thank
on the
you.
record, y'all, I think that's supposed to be Miss is M3. I think it's supposed to be, so it's my M3 commenting as Najee in relationship. So I'm not exactly sure where the my M3.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Miss Oliphant says free Damo t-shirts coming soon right here on Knowledge and Relationships.
Yes.
All
So I got a
right.
Cricut machine. I'll make them myself.
All righty. Queen, Dom, and then Jessica. I think that's how I had it. So Queen, Dom, and then Jessica. So Queen, Dom, do you think that kids are aware of stranger danger?
Right. So I agree with everything Queen just said. I'm about to say the same thing all over again. The girl hiding behind the car, all those stories are excellent. My mom always taught me, if you're walking down the street, especially because I'm from New York, you're always walking outside and you feel like someone is behind you, I don't know, stop and look like you're looking for somebody. Stop and look like, you're about to tie your shoe. And if that person doesn't pass you, fight or flight, then get ready. You just have to always be aware. So I'm always aware of every place that I'm around. And I think that's something that you should teach your kids. But as far as kids knowing, I think I agree with Queen too. I think it's the way that you grow up, because it's a lot of things that I didn't have to learn, I grew up in the hood. I just knew certain things, I just knew to watch out for certain things. I just knew, not to be in certain places at certain times. Of course, some of it I learned, but a lot of it was just natural instinct of being raised what's considered the streets, so I think it just depends on the person. My little cousin, no one told her to hide her face, but she just always see me being hand up, get out of my face, so she just kind of copied it or whatever. Oh, I love you guys too. I just really hope somebody got my bill, because I'm tasering everybody. So I have a taser. No, but that's just to protect myself. I have a taser. I have mace. I have a knife hidden in my makeup vanity and my walk-in closet. I sleep nights by myself. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a live stream, but everyone around me works a lot. No. So I'm always just prepared. In my car, there's a taser. When I used to do DoorDash, I used to have, a pocket knife and a taser in my car. I'm putting rocks in the sock in New York City, just to make sure, I'm getting on the train at 3 a.m. Girl. Yeah, it's batteries in the sock as a teenager. You just always, I'm not getting kidnapped. Let me tell you something. You have to kill me before you, if you think you're going to rape me, kidnap me, do whatever, it's going to have to be unconscious, because I'm fighting, I'm doing whatever. And I think kids, it depends on, how you grow up, what you're around, what your family watches in the house. I'm probably going to be a person to always watch these kind of shows, where they teach you, Criminal Minds. So my kids are just going to probably also know just from, oh, here goes mommy watching NCIS again. So, I think it just depends. Some kids learn it naturally, just like some kids learn how to, cook and do those things. I watched a 2-year-old cook eggs, by watching his brother all the time. So, I think it's what they see and, what they're around, the environment. Sadly, some kids have to learn that because they go through so much so young. Mm-hmm. And so it's their natural instinct to save themselves, no matter what anybody else around them is telling them. And that's a really sad thing. But I could go either.
Thank you, Queen Dom. Let me read these comments. Free Damo flags and bandanas coming soon. Not hashtag, sorry, exclamation point. Forget thug life, Damo life.
Yes, I'm putting that on my Instagram.
MarioMarion says LOL and says get the likes up, y'all. Get the likes up, get the likes up.
Did you guys hear about that? I think it happened a while ago. I can't remember, but a 9-year-old boy was kidnapped in Atlanta, and he sang gospel songs the whole time. So the
I heard about
person
that.
dropped him off, like returned him.
I heard about that. Yes.
He was singing gospel songs the whole time and wouldn't stop singing, and they dropped him off, I think, at a police station or a hospital. I can't remember.
I heard about that. Yeah, that was awesome. Yes, MarioMarion says, yeah, read them, Tammy. I'll be trying to read the comments, but you know, our panelists have amazing things to say. So we got to hear what the panelists got to say. And I know there was a comment before that MarioMarion says, we love you, Damo. Yes, we do. We absolutely love Damo. Damo's amazing. All righty. So, Damo Life t-shirts coming soon as well, Mr. Hall of Fame says.
Yes,
and
I'm loving the support for like my criminal lifestyle. Thank you.
DJ Pink says Damo lives matters.
No, he wrote
That's hilarious.
Natters. He didn't write Matters. He wrote Natters.
Manner, got it. Okay, and then MarioMarion says, shout outs to the wonderful women on our panel. Yes, because we're all amazing women. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Jessica, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like kids are aware of stranger danger?
I agree with what everyone else has said. I mean, some kids definitely have, right, this awareness, but whether they apply it in real life situations is the problem, I believe. So like you said, you can teach your kids all these things, but then when they get around either their peers or if they're caught off guard, and now I feel like every time I see a child or even adults sometimes, their head is in their phone or in some sort of technological. So if somebody is walking up on you at a park, at a dark alley, anything, right? It makes me nervous. No one pays attention to their surroundings, it feels like, anymore. And I know, like what Domo was saying, right? It depends on where you're from and if your family has taught you or if you have to be aware of your surroundings. But again, with the technology and stuff, how people act now, like they're too nonchalant. I feel like everybody needs to go back into the olden days. I'm old, and have their kids watch or their whole family watch, like John Walsh. Remember America's Most Wanted? He literally made that whole program because his son was kidnapped, and so he made it his life's mission to make sure other people's kids were safe. Similarly, it made like a re-up on Netflix, The Unsolved Mysteries. So I know during 2020 that came back out, but they brought up this one lady and she had the two kids who had been kidnapped from this Harlem park in 1989. So that, again, back to my point earlier, it is never, ever, ever too young to tell your child about not just kidnapping, but, assault of the sexual nature. Even if, you think you can't put it back, some of the comments right back in the toothpaste tube, I know these conversations are very uncomfortable, but I would rather have them than not. And just the children, it's just, they are our future and I just want them protected. I've seen so many, I taught now K all the way through college, and some of the things that the middle schoolers share on their phones are heinous, not just with people their age, but with grown men, and they call themselves grown, these little girls and boys. And it is just scary what they're sharing, and they brag about it. They'll bring it up to the front of the class and during free time or whatever, be like, look what, somebody's sharing with me. And I'm like, this is so, and then we have to have auntie talk again. I'm not a mom, but no, so inappropriate, so dangerous. It's just scary how little censorship they have and care for themselves, even if they have been taught by family and the family thinks they've gone over it with them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what everybody's saying. Real quick, Ms. Hall of Fame says, DJ Eddie, we got those t-shirts too. I will send you two. Love it, love it. And Blaze Brown says, awesome show and panelists. Thank you, Blaze Brown. Thank you very much. So really quickly, my better question would be not that are kids aware of stranger danger, but are the parents aware of stranger danger? Because kids are not aware if the parents are not aware. And I feel like the parents don't have those conversations, or the ones that don't have them enough. They're not aware of the different tactics that people use to get your kids. So, and it's it's hard to really trust certain people that you don't know, because you don't know what somebody's intentions are. And so I will say that if the parents are aware of stranger danger, then they're going to teach their children to be aware of stranger danger. And they're going to continue to teach them. So it's not going to be a one time you say something. It's going to be a continuous conversation. And, you know, Jessica was talking about that show, Unsolved Mysteries. I'll tell you what, that opening theme song was scary as hell. That opening theme song for Unsolved Mysteries was scary as hell. And when I was younger, we used to watch that show. Not with the lights off, mind you. We used to watch that show with the lights on. So, but yeah, I think that, you know, it's the parents that need to be I don't think I'm reading the names wrong, DJ Eddie King, unless it's your name I'm reading wrong. Hold on one second, you guys. Sorry about that. So the parents need to be more aware of than the kids do, and then the parents need to teach their kids. And I think that's what the problem is, that when there is no education going on, the kids are going to be unaware. So, and no matter how old your kids are, that needs to be a continuous conversation, especially as they get older, because as they get older, there's going to be more dangers that they may or may not be aware of. And I feel like they need to be aware as possible. So that when you're not around, they know what the right choices are they should be making. So yeah, great answers, panelists, great answers. And yes, if you guys want to join the panel, the link is available to you. So you're more than welcome to get on here and say what you got to say in response to a question. If nobody has anything else to add, we're going to go ahead and get to question number 3. So yes, question number 3, it says, do you think parents should use the same level of caution with immediate family as they do with outsiders? If so, what red flags should you watch for? This one's interesting. I think we're going to go to Mrs. M3, then Queen, then Jessica, and then Queen Dom. Alrighty, Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts?
Heck yes. If I swore, it would be, the other word, but yes, absolutely. And the reason being is because what is that? Discovery Channel? I don't remember. I won't put it on Discovery Channel. But anyway, allegedly, studies have been done on human beings around the world, and given time, all human beings, no matter their culture, will, if there's nobody else around, have sex with their relative. So within us somewhere, and it's not just human beings, it's also with the animal kingdom. Birds, if you put them in the cage, the mother bird gave birth to the baby bird. That baby bird grows up. If they're not separated from the cages, that baby bird, if it's a male, will, So yes, absolutely watch your kids. Absolutely train your kids to be safe. What is safe touch? What is unsafe touch? Make sure they know their body belongs to them. Don't send your kids off, go give blah, blah, blah a hug. No. Do you want to give this person a hug? Are you willing to give them a hug? Their body, their choice. Train them from a young age. And don't they might know something about that, individual's hug that is not, safe. And you're trying to send them over there. Why aren't you hugging them? Why aren't you hugging them? Maybe they don't want to say in front of that person why they're not hugging them. Teach them that their body is theirs. Help them to have that choice. Little babies, they exercise their right all day long. No. Teach every child, every age, hey, your no means no, your yes means yes.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. All righty, Queen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's just, you have to be vigilant in protecting your child, no matter what. I think, I wasn't able to sit on nobody's lap other than my parents, you know what I mean? I wasn't, I didn't really have a lot of sleepovers. Like I couldn't go over to a lot of people's houses, which I really didn't want to. I mean, the only person I really wanted to go over the house was my cousin, who was the same age as me. So we were like, my dad's brother. So, I was only spending the night over there. Like, so I think you just have to be equally vigilant, because people are sick these days. Like I don't know if you've seen the news story about the guy who he was dating the girl's mother when she was a little baby, and now he's married to her. He's married to the little girl, and she's 18 and he's 51 or something like that. That's disgusting. Like,
I saw that.
But you just have to be careful. You have to be careful who you bring around your kids, who you date. Like, people are sick these days, and I think COVID just exposed it.
Yeah, no, I saw that. A friend of mine had posted that story on her. She had posted it on her Facebook, and it was that was crazy. Where there was a picture of him holding the little girl when she was really, really little, and he was dating her mom, and then he married this little. That was crazy. Yeah, sick and disgusting and crazy. Jessica, what are your thoughts as far as question number 3?
1,000,000% yes. Again, and it's similar to what Atlanta Thrasher just shared in the comments. I don't know if it's popped up yet, but on my mom's side of the family as well, there was a history of sexual abuse, and it was her stepbrother. So similar to what another Domo just said, right? I was not allowed to sit on laps, specifically not allowed to go around anyone I wasn't uncomfortable with. And was told very explicitly, definitely, anyone, male or female, right? That is not allowed. Anyone makes you feel uncomfortable, anything like that. And later on, her instincts were completely right because he was convicted and was in prison for like 9 years. So again, those conversations are so important at a very, very young age, especially if you know something in your heart, even if other people in the family or otherwise, right, might be saying, oh, no, they're a great person. How could you say that? But if there's something instinctual in your heart as a parent or even as a child, that needs to be taken seriously, right? Never question your instincts or, other people might say you're crazy, but no. So definitely, I definitely think that the immediate family should be just, you should be just as careful with them as outsiders.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jessica. So real quick before I give my response, let me read these comments. Mr. Hall of Fame says, that's crazy, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. And then had a whole bunch of question marks, about 6 of them. DJ King has 7 question marks. And Mr. Hall of Fame says the show just went left. And DJ King says, what? With 6 question marks after it. Atlanta Thresh said, my son's mom's side of the family has a lot of sex abuse history coming out recently. So yeah, he's not allowed to be with any of them alone. That's crazy. And it's crazy because Mr. Hall of Fame says, Queen is right. Go ahead, Queen. And he says he pulled a Woody Allen. Yeah, he did put a pillow Woody Allen. Just nasty. Blaze Brown says, absolutely, as a mature woman older, I'm from the old school, teach them early regarding their space, boy or girl. Absolutely, amen to that. So, it's interesting because and I've said before on other streams that, parents really need to talk to their kids about what they went through, and parents don't. And there's a phrase that you always hear is like, oh, just keep it in the family. And that's part of the problem, is that it was kept in the family. And it wasn't told to anybody else. And then when you sometimes, you've seen the stories of where somebody does say something and it's not believed because you just couldn't think that person would do whatever it is they're being accused of. So, it's just crazy. It's really, really crazy. In response to the third question, I do think that parents should have the same level of caution just because, you know, you don't know, like that's things like you don't know about the intentions of people. And, people in the family, they will groom the younger people. And that's the thing, you don't know what they went through. So if they went through certain things that molded how they are now, you have to be very, very mindful of certain things. And it's hard to say what the red flags are, because I feel like that's why some things are not seen, because that person may be good at not showing those red flags where you can see them. But I will say, as a parent, make sure you listen to your kids. Like if your kids tell you that they don't like somebody, that they don't want to be around somebody, that somebody makes them feel uncomfortable, listen to when your kids tell you those kind of things. Because they're not saying it just because, they're saying it for a reason. And even if you don't know for sure what was done, that's things like kids may not feel like they want to tell you. And I feel like that's part of the problem, is that some parents don't make their kids feel comfortable enough to talk to them about everything. I know that, with my daughter, I want her to talk to me about everything. I want her to feel like she can talk to me about anything, no matter what it is. So you want your kids to feel like they can come to you about anything that's bothering them. You don't want them to feel like they have to hide it, because you're either not going to believe them or you're not going to hear it or anything like that. So I definitely think, you pay attention to your children's words, but not just their words, but also their actions, because they may not say they don't want to be around somebody, but they may have body language that shows that they don't want to be around that person. So always pay attention to your kids, what they say, but definitely what they do, because actions always speak louder than words. And then watch those people that you have around your kids, even if it is family, because, things could be going on and you're not paying attention because they're family. You're expecting it to be a stranger, and then you find out that it's not. So always have your eyes open as much as possible. I know I do. I don't have my daughter around every single person that I know. But the people that she is around, I pay attention to what they say and what they do. And then I always talk to my daughter. Like when she goes to visit her dad, I always ask her, who was there? What did you do? What did so-and-so say? What did so-and-so do? I always ask her that, because I want to know what's going on over there. So you have to be very aware. And I kind of think even more so with people that you consider family than people that are strangers, because you know them, it might be harder for you to see that person is a predator when they actually are. So anyway, great responses to those questions, you guys.
I didn't respond.
Very nice. Yeah, what'd you say, Damo?
I didn't respond.
I'm sorry, Damo. Girl, you gotta stop me before I give my response. I apologize.
I was like, I'll just wait until she's done.
I apologize. You know what? Go ahead, Damo. The floor is yours, my girl. What do you think as far as question number 3? My apologies.
I know that what's crazy is this is my question, but I don't remember it. Can I see it again?
So the question said, do you think parents should use the same level of caution with immediate family as they do with outsiders? If so, what red flags should they watch out for?
Okay, yes. And I agree with everyone on the panel. I think that you should definitely be cautious, because those, like everyone has said, those are the people that, you're not going to always automatically think of, so it might be harder for you to realize it. And those are the people that, they're probably going to be around the most. They're probably going to trust the most, so you definitely have to let them know that. I have little sisters, and I remember telling my little sisters, no one is to touch you, in your, private place or whatever. I was like, and I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's EJ, which is our older brother. Well, my younger brother, but their older brother. I was like, I don't care if it's dad. I don't care who it is. You tell mommy. Like, it doesn't matter. So it's also having that transparency and not being like, oh, so-and-so only or strangers only. No, nobody. Even if it's me. If anything is wrong or you feel any uncomfortable, I don't care who it is. You say something. So I think that you should definitely, you have to watch out for everybody that they're around, especially the people that they're going to trust the most. And I also think that you shouldn't have, like Tammy said, you shouldn't have your kids around everybody. Everyone does not need to be around your children. Everyone does not need to be left alone with your children. You know, everyone doesn't need to babysit your children. Like, if you can't have all these things in place, and if you feel like you need to leave your child everywhere, then honestly, you shouldn't have a child. You know, it's like that's how I feel about it. I think that we need to protect our children, and I think the red flags you need to look out for. Oh, here's a perfect one. My uncle always told me, he said, if your child comes home from somebody's house or from daycare, you know, and they're just quiet and they're not really saying nothing, kids, all they do is talk about their day. All they do is talk about this happened in school and that happened in school and so did this and so did that. So if they come home and they are not happy about this person, they're not talking about this person, don't send them back. It's just that simple. Don't send them back. And, you know, pay attention to the signs that they're showing you. And I think people have this notion of, oh, they're just kids, they don't know any better, or, you know, oh, they're just kids, they just don't like that person. Okay, well, they just don't like that person, then they just shouldn't be around that person. It doesn't matter what the reason is. So yeah.
And the other, Dom, is children don't tend to lie about things like that unless adults are putting them up to it. If they're coming to their parents saying that, it's not something made up. It should definitely be looked into.
And that's something that I think a lot of parents don't think about, or they think like it doesn't affect them as much. Please know that these little, it could be the tiniest thing. It is going to affect them. It is going to affect them when they grow up. They can grow up and be lawyers. It doesn't matter. It's going to affect them in some way. So it's not some nonchalant thing where, oh, well, they just touched you. You know, like, no, you need to, when it does happen, you need to even be more vigilant, because that's another thing that not we, but, you know, like a lot of parents don't do is just, it happens and then you don't do enough about it, you know? So then now it's easy to just happen again. You think they learned just because it happened once, but if you didn't say anything about it, if you didn't do anything about it, then it's easy to just keep happening again and again and again. And then, I don't know, maybe it leads to them being prostitutes. Like, who knows? Like, you know, but you just need to, like, I don't know, pay attention. Pay attention. That's all it takes. Just pay attention. Listen to your kids. Know your kids. Those parents that say, I know my kids, know your kids. And that's it.
Thank you, Damo. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me read these comments real quick. There we go. DJ King said, Damo cooking tonight. Well said. Fire, fire. Maricela says, more, because there is a level of trust usually, and the child might perceive as it's okay to do as they say. Very, very, very true. And then MarioMarion had a suggestion. He says, you owe Damo a public video apology and make sure you write 500 lines on the keyboard. Yeah, how about no? But thanks for the suggestion. Yeah,
don't tell Tammy what to do, and don't try to be nice to me now.
All right, you guys. So we are done with that question number 3. Make sure if you're watching, you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, you hit the notification bell. All of those things are absolutely free. You definitely don't have to pay for those, but they will pay you back in amazing ways. So without further ado, we're going to get to question number 4. That's going to come up. And see, I love this. Question number 4 pop up, but bam. Okay, so question number 4 says, are parents failing their children? Why or why not? And we're going to welcome Mr. Best in the World. What's going on, Mr. Best in the World?
Yes. What's going on, ladies? It's great to be on here. I'm gonna let y'all do the whole thing with the kids and all. I ain't gonna speak on that. But I can't speak about the homie Kel's thing, man. We're gonna talk about this real quick. I'm gonna dive and say a couple of comments and I'm out. I think everybody knows that, messing with kids or doing anything with kids is just wrong. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to even, there's nothing to talk about when it comes to kids. It's wrong. You shouldn't be doing it. So what he was accused of allegedly, because you ain't suing me, Kels, all right? I know you about to do your appeals and all that, so you're not going to sue me, okay? So whatever he was accused of allegedly, you know what I'm saying, is completely wrong. I think nobody is disrupting or disputing that fact. But there's certain things that we have to talk about. Not even but, it's just certain things that have to be mixed in the conversation. One, the parents of these kids, have to be, held responsible. So I definitely agree with First Lady Tammy on that. They got to be held responsible. There's no way that you have all these kids that are going through this or have gone through this and none of the parents are responsible. They are the adults. and they should be held accountable. They should be right in that court, right with him. You know what I'm saying? They should be put on trial right with him. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it is, and we're going to just be completely honest and transparent, a lot of these parents were taking payola. They were prostituting their kids. They was allowing their kids to be around this man, and they were getting paid, and they was using his money and resources as a way for them to live a better life. You know, and that's just facts. You know, and they understand that. So, you know, and there are some parents who weren't taking money, and they weren't, you know, advocating his behavior, but some of them were. And the ones that were, you know, they definitely need to be held accountable. You know, there's no way that there's this many children and this is going on and none of the parents are accountable. That's one. Secondly, you know, we're not gonna sit here and act like as well, you know, that there ain't no thirsty females out there. The thirst in the females is real. Okay, we're gonna put that out there. The thirst in the females is real. You know, and females, when it comes to celebrity, they just as thirsty as men, if not more thirsty. You know, they'll do some crazy things. They'll be waiting outside the dressing room. They'll be climbing over barricades, fighting, acting a fool. Grown women, grandmas, aunties, showing this type of outlandish behavior over one person, over one man. You know what I mean? You know, I know women today that's like, yeah, I still want him. Yeah, why do you still want this man? You know what I mean? Do you see the type of character that he allegedly has? And you still want him? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know, so we're not going to ignore that fact as well. We're not going to ignore the fact that women can be the most deceitful creatures in the world. I say they are the most deceitful creatures in the world. You know, because you know they'll come up with fantasies in their mind. They want you to live a fantasy that they have. Then, you know, they want to try to make you to have a lifestyle or have kids with them. All types of crazy stuff, man. You know what I mean? That females be doing as well. So we're not going to sit here and act like that's not happening, because it is. You know, and also I think as far as Kels, I think one, you know, what makes it even more crazy and more creepy and more disgusting is that, bro, you got daughters, man. You got daughters. You know what I'm saying? You have daughters. You had a mom. Your mom passed away. Condolences to him and his family about his mom and all that from back in the day. Like, condolences to that. But you know, she raised you on her own. You know what I mean? Your father really wasn't in your life like that. So how can you do this to other women? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a lot of factors with him I don't understand, allegedly, that he did, you know. So it's crazy, man. You know, his music is I mean, you can't take the music talent away from him. The man is a genius. It is what it is. He made fire music. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, DJ King. What's going on, brother? I mean, much love. You know what it is, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, his music talent is undeniable. You know, I say he's one of the other two kings of R&B. I always say Kings of R&B had three eras. You know what I mean? We had the Marvin Gaye era, the Michael Jackson era, then we had the R. Kelly era. I mean, it's undisputed. You know what I mean? You can't even argue. You know what I mean? Those are the three kings. Those are three kings when it came to R&B music. Most definitely. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? But the things that he's allegedly accused of is disgusting. It is completely disgusting. And he needs to be held accountable. The parents need to be held accountable, you know, and to the females out there who say that they're women, stop chasing these men who have just terrible characters. You know what I mean? Stop doing that. There's plenty of men out here who can treat you like a queen, and they're not doing no crazy man stuff. They're not trying to creep out and be with your daughters, or, you know, be with other women in your family. They're not trying to do none of that creepy stuff. You know, there's a lot of hardworking, wonderful men out here that's not doing nothing crazy. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about all that. Y'all keep rocking out, keep doing a good show. You know, thank you for representing women and being a great example of women, and continue to hold it down. First Lady Tammy, I'm out. And also, yeah, I didn't forget, free Damo. You know what I mean? Damo. Free Damo. Yeah, I'm out.
Thank you, Mr. Hall of I'm sorry. Mr. Hall of Fame, thank you very much for joining and giving your feedback on some earlier questions we were and that video. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciated that male perspective amidst the female perspective. Definitely. Anybody else who feels they want to come on, give an opinion, definitely feel free. And DJ the King says, I'm trying to join, but something is wrong. Shaking my head. Yeah, it is. We'd love to get your feedback, Mr. DJ Eddie King, live and alive. So hopefully if you're able to click on there and get in, we'll definitely love it. All righty. So the question was, are parents failing their children? Why or why not? So I don't think any of us got to respond. So we're going to start with Queen Dom, then go to Queen Forever, TK21, Mrs. M3, and then Jessica. All righty, Queen Dom, what are your thoughts?
I would say not all parents. There are definitely parents that are like doing the damn thing, like, you know, Miss First Lady Tammy over there. So I wouldn't say all parents are failing their children, but I will say there's a lot that are. And I don't want to say that they're failing their children, because some parents, they just weren't ready to be parents. Like, they just didn't have enough like knowledge on what that meant and what that was, you know. So I wouldn't say they're failing. I would just say they, you know, we have naive people out, you know, out there. There are people that are naive. There are people that, you know, get into situations that are just not for them. And sadly, parenting is one of those situations. I think that also, if you are watching other people, I mean, it's 2021. Let me take that back. It's 2021. There's no excuse for it. Like, you are failing your kids. I don't care if you're poor. I don't care if you are in a shelter. There's a TV. There are resources. There's somebody to talk to. Like, it may not be a lot. You may have to fight through mud and dirt and whatever, but you're a parent, so that's just what you have to do. So yeah, no, you are failing your kids. If you're not doing at like the best that you can possibly do, which is a lot, then yeah, you're failing your kids. And that's it, because you just don't care, or you think that kids are these things where it's like, okay, well, I gave you food and water and shelter, and like, you know, you're alive. Okay, and that is like the bare minimum. That is like, that's not even a thing for a parent to do. That's just like automatic. Like, that's not something that you check off on a list. You know, you can't say, oh, well, you always had a roof over your head. Well, duh. Like, you know, like, so yeah, you're failing your children. I don't care. Sorry, parents out there. And I may not be a parent, but I will be a damn good one, and can't nobody tell me different. So yeah, you're failing your kids. Do better. Hashtag do better.
Thank you, Queen Dom. Thank you very much. Blaze Brown says, those are a special kind of woman. Mindset questionable, who dismiss and still want R. Kelly. I can definitely agree with that. All righty, Queen Forever 2K21, what are your thoughts? Do you think that parents are failing their kids?
The queens are in the house, Queen Dom. I totally agree. Kudos. Hashtag, what did you say?
Do better.
Do better. That's right. Hashtag, you a ratchet mama.
Oh, yes.
But I think today, parents want to be kids' friends. They, you know, and then you look at all these, everybody want to be viral. Everybody want to be Insta star, Insta hole, Instagram, Insta whatever. And I think a lot of these parents objectify, especially their little girls, like little dolls. They dress them up. They got them on booty short. You know what I mean? Like, there are predators out there who sleep with 9-month-olds. Like, you can't treat your daughter like a little doll. Like, you got them dressed up, taking all these pictures with the lips, duck lips, and poking it out. Like, it's crazy to me. I don't understand it. You know, and despite what's around, what's out there in the media, what's in the news, it's almost like it gets worse, because everyone thinks, oh, that's not going to be my daughter, or that's not going to be me. I remember living in a part of the Bay Area. I'm not going to San Francisco. I'm just going to say it. And we were in a park, Golden Gate Park, and we were having, it was a big group of us was out there just having a barbecue, whatever. And there was these little kids, I want to say 3 to 5-year-olds. It was about 4 of them. And you, when you walk by their parents, you could tell that they were from a different country. They were letting them run around this park naked. The kids were just running around naked. And they were like, and it wasn't like they were like right near their parents. They were like feet away. And I remember going over to the parent because, you know, I'm a social worker, so I'm always in social work mood. And I was like, if I could have arrested the parents, I would have. But we're not going to go there. So I went over and I said, hey, you might want to keep little Johnny, little Susie over near you. And you might want to put some clothes on them. I know it's hot, but it's not that hot. And you don't know who's out here. You don't, and they just kind of looked at me like I was stupid, but I'm like, you don't know who's out here. People are sick. And it's, you know, I just think parents just gotta get it together. Like, dude, you opened your legs, you chose to not be protected, you chose to hold this child in you for 9 months. And if you don't want to do a good job, you should go, hey, here you go. I can't do it. You know what I mean? But don't do it and just go, oh, I didn't know. You did know. You know when something's wrong with your child. If not, that means you're too self-absorbed.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
And get these kids off of social media. That's the problem. You know, my sister knew my nieces all her passwords to everything. And she told her, I am 5 steps ahead of you. I know everything before you even think about doing it. And I don't think these parents do enough with policing these children. That's the problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. Delaney Thrasher says, I think their world is failing children. The world gets creepier and we got to stand up against it. And those who don't, pray for those babies. Absolutely. Definitely agree with that. For sure. All righty, Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like parents are failing their children?
I feel like the parents that have, when they kids come to them and they don't take them seriously. Yes. I feel like when there's children that come to their parent in honest, it probably took them a lot to even come to them in the first place and say, hey, this is happening to me. We hear, who was that? A famous poet, Maya Angelou, right? She was assaulted when she was a kid. And the person she told, you know, it got back to her family members, and that person that harmed her ended up dying, and she chose not to speak for a long time. She internalized that, you know. Who else? There's I won't mention the famous person everyone probably knows, and she's spoke of it on her show and on her network about being raped and then sexually assaulted till she was 16, from a child, preteen to 16 years old, and her parent didn't believe her. When parents don't believe, when children come to them and saying things like this, that's where the parent is failing the child, I feel. I don't think every parent fails their child. I feel like there are parents out there that take their kids seriously, in regards with my Angelou's situation. It may not be that extreme, but they take them seriously, and predators wind up in jail, and that's where they belong. And, you know, family gets relief, moves away, and stays gone from that person. And that person has to deal with themselves, you know. If they ever, you know, do get out of jail, hopefully they learned their lesson, but maybe some of them never get out of jail and they spend their lives there, you know. You know, situations like with poly class, and, you know, I remember I was in middle school or high school, I don't know, when that situation, I forget. I know I was young too, and that was like the biggest thing on TV. And her dad to this day is an advocate for, you know, protect our children from child predators, you know. They have a like foundation in her name and those things. And he goes and he public speaks and talks to parents, like, you know, protect your children, teach them, you know, how to protect themselves when they're away from you, kind of stuff like that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. M3. All righty. So then we have Jessica. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Similarly, I don't think definitely all parents don't fail their children. Some work really, really hard. I've seen so many amazing parents being a teacher. And they struggle because a lot, again, the kids want to do what they want to do now, especially with peer pressure and everything like it's always been. But now I feel like it's even harder, denying them social media or denying them some sort of technology. And then they feel like they're not part of their community and stuff, right? But those parents are really trying to protect them. It feels like it's more impossible nowadays, though, for parents to truly do a good job of that. I remember, again, battling, trying to get a phone or trying to do whatever, and my mom was just totally against, right, certain things. And I thought, she's so old school, but now I see so much, right, what she was trying to do to protect me, and definitely did a good job with. But then on the other side, right, the parents who are not only from like a teacher perspective, but since we are talking about celebrities and things like that tonight, recently I saw, it was such a disturbing video. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but that Kodak Black video of him, he had already been accused of molestation and rape and things. But then he was like groping his own mother and trying to kiss her in the mouth at like this wedding video. And I just wonder, like, what happened in his childhood, in his life, where he would have thought that would have been acceptable, not only with any woman, but with his mother. And it's just gross. But again, I feel like it's really disturbing that, and this is definitely controversial and probably obvious to many of y'all, but we're talking about R. Kelly tonight. I just brought up Kodak Black, but there's so many like musicians, movie stars that are not people of color that just don't get brought up enough, right? And they're also sinister. They have not often been convicted. It's just like acceptable, this misogyny, this perversion with movie stars, with singer-songwriters like Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. He was supposedly like with a 14-year-old, it's just not that big of a deal. He opened like here in Tennessee, this shelter for children who are abused. And I'm wondering, like, have people not added that up? Might he be trying to get closer to children to have access to them constantly? Just so many things. So I definitely think, right, some parents are not. And we just need to be more vigilant, even if you're not a parent, right? If you're a teacher, if you're a community member trying to help kids, be aware.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you very much. Thank you all you guys for your feedback. So what I will say is that, because the question is, are parents failing their children? So what I will say is, if you are not intentionally preparing your children, you are failing your children. So, if you are not intentionally getting them ready for what they need to be aware of, you are failing your children. If you are trying to be your child's friend, you are failing your child. Because in trying to be your child's friend, there's things you're not going to talk to them about. There's things you're not going to do with them or for them. There's some discussions you're not going to have. And then there's some discussions that you're having that you shouldn't be having with your child. So I think that as a parent, you have a job to do, and preparing your child is part of your job, and making them aware of things that they may face and preparing them for the things that they may face in the world, because your hope is that you have prepared them enough that when they do go out there and encounter that, they know what they need to do. And if you don't prepare your child, they're not going to know what to do. So like we see in that video earlier where those parents were saying, oh yeah, I talk to my kids all the time, but yet this guy goes up to them and they're ready to go see the other dogs. No question, no second guessing, no hold on a second. So that's the thing. I feel like those parents are definitely failing their kids. I mean, you talking to your child after, oh, you're not supposed to talk to strangers. You should have talked about them before that guy decided to almost take them away. So I think you have to be intentionally preparing your kids. Talk to them about the different dangers that are out there. Talk to them like what Mrs. M3 said, where you're Your no is no and your yes is yes. Talk to them about those things. And if you're not, yeah, you are failing your kids. So Mr. Atlanta Thrasher says, my child's friend, please. I'll be friends with my future grandkids, then send them home rotten. I heard that. So, you know, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say my thing is that it's too much technology out there not to know what your kid is doing. There's apps you can put on, you can locate. There's so many things you can do to know. And, to say that it's almost like you have to really be blind to not know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, and just be so self-absorbed. And I'm not saying stresses don't happen. I'm not saying, single parents, it's not hard. But what I'm saying is that I think that's the problem. It's because we lost the community and the village mentality. Our kids are left to the wolves and fight this jungle by themselves, And I think, yeah, I mean, I wish I would be doing something. I mean, my parents knew everything I did, even though technology wasn't that big, because it was a community. Every time I thought I was getting away with something, they knew. I mean, my mama could run down what I had on, what time it was, what color shirt I had on, what I was holding in my hand. And I'm like, you at work. How you know this? Because it was a community. It was a village mentality. And I think we have to get out of that, get out of this. We've lost that, I mean. And that's the problem.
Thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. It's funny, when people say being a single parent is hard, like my mother, I was talking to her the other day. So, and this is like, I don't know. I don't look at it as hard, to be perfectly honest. But I told my mother it's because my mentality, like this is the way that it is. This is the way life is. So I don't look at it as hard because this is what I have to do. So this is just the way it goes. That I get up in the morning, I get ready, my daughter gets ready, I drop her off, I go to work, I get off work, I pick her up. So my mentality is that this is what my life is, and there's no need to think of it as hard or easy because this is what my life is. Like going to work, that's part of your routine. Like you can think of work as something hard to do, but it's something that's part of your life. That's what you do every day. So for me, I don't think of motherhood as this is something hard to do. I just look at it as this is what I do every day. This is the way that my life is. So I think I look at it differently than some people do. Just I don't know. I don't know. I look at it in that way, and people sometimes think I'm crazy, but
well, I was saying it in the aspect of,
I know.
Like for me, I understand what for me. I had a parent that worked during the day and a parent who worked at night, so somebody was always home. So where it wasn't only on the parent who worked during the day. I look at my sisters who were single moms, and because they had a community, it wasn't hard on them. But if they had to do it by themselves, they said that, going to school and working and raising a little kid, got to pick them up from daycare and find a baby. They said they would have been stressed out, but because they had more support. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of parents, are, when you look at the some of the SVUs or the the Lifetime movies with the situations, it's usually a parent who's been working hard and all over the place, and by the time they get home, they spent, and the little Susie is a little fasty, and she's on the internet, and she meets the guy online. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree as far as the village. Well, and then my thinking is as far as the village being not being around is that there's people in the village that have taken advantage of being in the village and have made it to where nobody wants to be a village anymore.
Right
so,
about that.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So All righty, so we have reached our 2-hour mark, you guys, and that just kind of sucks because we're having a really, really great conversation, and I almost don't want it to end. Jessica, our lovely panelist, has been responding to Atlanta Thrasher because apparently they don't live that far from each other. So nice. It's always good when you find out that somebody's watching and they don't live that far from you. So that's nice. So anybody who's watching, once again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we're going live, not just for Ladies Night, but for any other time that we're doing something amazing, including the interview with Miss Jessica after the stream. So you definitely don't want to miss that. You want to tune in for that because I know it's going to be a good one. So without further ado, we're going to have each person highlight their social media and where you can find them if you're looking for them. And we're going to start with Queen Forever 2K21.
All righty. Well, you can reach me at Queen Forever 2K21 on Instagram. I'm on the Knowledge and Relationships platform. I'm here every day. They stream. I don't really remember because they stream sometimes more than what they scheduled to do. So I pop in, I pop out, and I keep it pushing. Have a good night.
Are we gonna take lovely Queen off the spotlight?
I mean, I don't mind staying there. Hey, y'all. Hey.
I love it. Thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. All righty, Miss Dom, Queen Dom. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, got it. So you can find me Queen Dom on Instagram. I'm cutting my hair. I'm very sad. I'm the assistant network manager of Knowledge and Relationships. So you can find me on the days that they're on there, which is like a couple days a week. And check me out on Ladies Night. And everybody have a good night. Mwah.
Thank you, Queen Dom. And I would love to know why you're cutting your hair. Just curious.
No, because I haven't been like following my regimen, and like I forget that I'm also relaxed, that I'm not natural. So I need to cut some ends off. I tried to flat iron it and it wasn't working. So
okay, all righty, okay. Mrs. M3. And you're muted, by the way.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for commenting. We appreciate you being here. Please return on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, those of you that are on the East Coast up late. Please stay tuned after our stream for Miss Jessica Hansen's live video. And thank you so much. You'll see me here every Saturday. I won't always be the moderator, but tonight was fun. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. Okay, so real quick before we get to Jessica, there was a comment that came in that I wanted to read real quick. So if it comes up again, I'll be able to read it. Let's see. Yeah, the Land Trustor says to hit that bell, definitely for sure. Also says the pursuit of happiness makes me cry every time. That's us too. Oh, it says no wonder if that's why she's wearing orange. And just says, I have my Hocus Pocus on for Halloween. Yes, that's an awesome movie. Okay, so Alan Clark, thank you for tuning in, Alan Clark. Make sure you hit that like button and that notification bell. Says that's the hardest thing of single parenting was the absence of where'd he go? There you go. Was the absence of balance. As a father, I did not give him the poor baby aspect of childhood he would have gotten from his mother. Interesting. Okay, thank you for that comment. Thank you very, very much. And then Atlanta says, LOL, Jessica Hansen, good. Halloween football. Nice. And Jessica Hansen says 100%. Nice. All righty, Jessica. It is on you, my dear.
All right.
Hey, how are y'all?
Can they find you on social media anywhere?
Yes. Sorry about that. So Jessica Hansen on Facebook, and then Instagram is Jessica011488. Sorry, I had like frozen for a second or something.
It's okay. It's okay. You were able to get your stuff out there, and that's all that matters. The Atlanta Thrush said the truth is funny. And Blaze Brown says, please share this video. Absolutely. Yes, definitely share this video for absolute sure. All righty. I am the last person to shout myself out. So we're going to do my turn. All righty. So thank you once again for tuning in. I am your host, First Lady Tammy. I'm hosting today and usually every Saturday, but you never know. I might have one of my other panelists hosting on another day because they're so amazing. I feel like they should be a host someday too. So it could be me, might be someone else. You never know. No matter who's hosting, it's always going to be a good one. Definitely come back every Saturday. We are doing Ladies Night because when we're doing it, you're going to get some good stuff. You can find me on Instagram at First Lady Tammy 916. You can find me here hosting if I am hosting, or one of my other panelists. Either way, I'm going to be hosting or I'm going to be joining. Either way, I'm still going to be a part of it because it's amazing. I'm also on Mondays and Thursdays when there's another amazing topic that I can give my feedback on. You know, I got a lot to say, so I definitely got to be there. But yeah, definitely hit that like button, that subscribe button, that bell, and all those things because they are absolutely free and they bring you as much joy as they bring to us. All righty. So on that note, we are going to say our goodbyes. Thank you so much for tuning in to our lovely topic. Before we go, Atlanta Thrush says, can you cut my hair? My hair is catching up to my beard and is becoming a mullet.
I sure can. Just let me know.
Love it.
Dom's hair shop coming soon. See, we're about to make a whole thing.
Love it. All
you got
righty.
multiple streams of income to keep that bail bond money high.
There you go. So after our stream is done, they're saying for you guys to give them a minute to get ready for the interview. Definitely stay tuned after our stream goes off for that amazing interview with amazing Jessica. But for now, we're going to say our goodbyes and we will see you next time. Bye.
Good night.
All right.
I don't know.